So, we started.
Starting.
What's going
I
on?
just looked down and it was just blue.
What's going on?
Wait.
Wait, what's going
What?
on?
What's going on?
Wait, what's going on?
Wait a second.
Guys,
Wait a
wait
second.
a second.
Wait, what's
Wait.
going on?
So what's going on? Hey.
It's just silent for the whole rest of the
Hi.
podcast after that.
Well, thanks for listening. Bye.
We've already started.
Go
We
on,
have to
Kendall. Go on,
introduce
Kendall.
ourselves.
No, intro the podcast, Kendall. Go on.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah. Who's gonna explain what this is?
Basically.
What's going on?
who is
Okay,
this
don't let
guy?
this guy explain it.
So basically, I'm Kendall.
Awesome.
I thought you guys were
Yeah.
gonna say your own names and then you just didn't.
I just didn't expect. I told you to start talking about the podcast, and
No,
you
we-
said
I
I'm
didn't know
Kendall.
we were
Oh.
introing.
Okay. So I'm Kendall, that's Ghost, and that's Felix, the other guy. And we're talking about what's going on. Basically, it's a podcast where we just talk about what's going on with various topics. And we're all just very confused on everything all the time. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
is that like a good summary?
Yeah, that
or-
was sufficient.
awesome.
Great.
Great work, guys. That's a
The
wrap.
podcast
Well,
ends there.
Thanks for
It's not even
watching.
4 minutes long yet.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Okay.
It was
Who are you, Kendall? What's going on with you? Why are you on the podcast?
You know, I make some Minecraft content sometimes, and I got a lot to say sometimes, and I'm friends with two fucking idiots sometimes.
Wait, are we allowing cussing?
I thought it was 18 plus.
Oh, that's so real. Continue.
I'm friends with idiots sometimes. Sometimes I say sometimes a lot, I guess. I started making content around 2021 and I started making Minecraft Let's Plays. And then I streamed and then I stopped streaming and then I streamed again. And then I stopped streaming and made Minecraft content on YouTube. And then I stopped because I started going to college. And then I'm making YouTube videos again. And now I'm making a podcast.
Wow.
Who's next?
What's your background,
Congrats.
Felix?
I don't make any content
Great.
yet.
You want to make content.
Oh,
I want to make content. I'm only in other people's content, and I'm in this podcast. Congrats.
bro's got a shitty computer.
You're getting a new one, though. You're getting a new one soon.
I'm making a new one. I'm getting a new one soon.
Real.
And then there will still be no content after that.
That's real.
I have a long background. I've been around for a while. In 2021, I started making YouTube videos, and it was Minecraft plugins, and I just
Yeah.
messed up the game and tried to speedrun, and I didn't know how to speedrun or play Minecraft, and that was fun. And then I got bored of that, and my coder got bored of that, and then I started making TikToks, and I got really big on TikTok. And then I went on like a 6-month hiatus, and now I'm back, streaming a little bit, making TikToks a little bit, working on stuff. Started a podcast with idiots.
I
Huh?
don't appreciate how I'm being called an idiot over and over again.
Well, you are, so.
Started a podcast with my best friend, Kendall.
Which one? Oh.
I'm not your best friend.
Let's go!
No.
Finally, somebody's best friend. That got sad.
That was
Sorry.
really sad. You didn't have to make
Sorry,
it sad.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. What's going on with podcasts?
What is actually going on with podcasts?
I feel like I've seen a lot of podcasts, but I don't really know what's going on with them, you know what I mean?
What podcasts have you seen?
I've watched a few episodes of Chuckle Sandwich.
What's that about?
That's just
They're just really talking about stuff.
they're just talking about stuff. It's just Ted Nivison and
I feel like
and Jay Schlatt.
I feel like
Oh,
most
shoot.
podcasts are just talking about stuff.
And it used to be Charlie Slimesicle too, but he
What
left
happened?
the podcast.
Oh my god,
don't know.
why'd he leave?
I don't know. Well, he's on this other podcast called Just Roll With It that I listen to. It's a D&D podcast. They just play Dungeons and Dragons. It's pretty fun. I recently I got really far in it and then I lost interest in it, so then I stopped watching it.
Wait, you're on episode like 60 or something though.
I'm on episode 65, yeah.
Oh my god, how many are there?
104.
Oh,
What?
what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's why, and a lot of them are like 2 hours long and stuff. So
Oh my god.
I was like, I need a break. Just roll with it.
Yeah. That's a long time for an episode.
That is.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you're playing like a game, it's like you
Mm.
get into it. If you're just talking.
I think my mom is really into podcasts and recommended podcasts for me while I was in school and would recommend me like crime podcasts or like, I don't know, like audiobooks and stuff and would listen to them with me in the car and try to get me into them, and I just never did. And then during quarantine, Billie Eilish's brother and his girlfriend started a podcast, and that was the first podcast that I was like fiending over every week. Like every episode was like maybe 45 minutes, and I would just like, that was my excuse to get stuff done, was just that I could listen to the podcast while I did it.
Yeah, I think I never really listened to true crime podcasts,
Progcasts.
but I think this summer especially I got into listening to the Rotten Mangoes true crime podcast a little bit, and it made me have really bad anxiety for multiple days on end. So
Oh, so did
I
you
stopped
continue
watching
or yeah?
no, I didn't. I couldn't sleep because I was so
What?
anxious.
What kind of stuff did they talk about?
It's just like true crime stuff, like murders and stuff. One time I watched something about a shipwreck, and then I was like, "Oh no, those poor people!" And then I got really anxious because of that for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, you're like, I'm gonna be in
Yeah.
a shipwreck.
I think mostly it was because I was like, "What if they're like the ghosts are haunting me right now?" And they're like, "This bitch is going to sleep while I'm fucking dead." And like, what the hell? I was like, "No, I don't want them to be mad at me."
What?
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's like a really weird like thing to be anxious about.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
really sorry this happened to you. This seems traumatizing.
But the murder ones are the ones that really get me, because it's like, I don't want to be murdered.
I think that's not really something anyone wants to have happen to them.
Yeah, but I couldn't sleep with my back towards the door, and I couldn't sleep with the door open.
You
Even
thought
though,
like the door was gonna kill you?
No, I thought somebody was gonna walk through the door.
Keep your
and
eyes
kill
on the
me.
door, because the door might do some sketchy
The
shit.
door might
No,
kill
that's
me.
valid. That's valid. Watching stuff like Mandela Catalog, I got really obsessed
Oh.
with analog horror for a long time, but I could not sleep.
Yeah. Like I have an alarm system and stuff in my house, and I have two dogs that'll start barking if anybody even like comes close to the door. But it's like, I also remembered that one story of like the girl that had like the guy sleep over, and he like laid down on the floor and saw the guy underneath her bed, and I was like, "Oh."
What?
Oh,
I was
I've
like-
heard of that.
Yeah, I was convinced. I was like, "Oh, there's somebody down there." I never checked though because I was too scared to check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's like, I don't know. But those are like the only podcasts I've ever listened to. Has anybody else ever listened to podcasts?
I've listened to a couple podcasts before. I've listened to the Offline TV podcast before. I've listened to Banter. I've listened to Chuckle Sandwich. I've listened to Rhett and Link's podcast, Ear Biscuits.
That's
That
real.
was like probably the first one that I was fiending over.
That one's pretty good.
Oh,
That's a good one. And
I
then
love Rhett and Link.
and then also Anthony's Padilla. I spent a day with
Anthony's Padilla?
Anthony Padilla's.
Anthony's Padilla.
Oh, what about Anthony's Padilla?
Is that a podcast? Is that considered a podcast?
It's a podcast, I think. I mean, there's a video version of it, but there's also a podcast.
Oh.
What other podcasts have I think Jenna and Julian had a podcast for a long time. That one's crazy. There's like 500 episodes or something. And one time I wanted to watch the entire series, but I just never got around to doing it.
Yeah. This goes back to true crime a little bit, but when I was in school, like high school, we listened to the Serial podcast, which is a true crime podcast. And that one was pretty good. It's about the murder of like a girl. It's very interesting, but it's very much literary journalism, not literary journalism, creative nonfiction. That's what it is. I took a class on creative nonfiction last semester, and we actually listened to an episode of the podcast. But it's very like, I don't know, it uses scene a lot. It like sets up the scene and stuff. So it's just like a different version of a true crime podcast, but it's like the same thing, I guess.
True crime. What's going on with true crime?
What's going on with true crime?
What's going on with that?
True crime?
I don't think I've ever like really been into it.
I
I don't
have.
think I've ever heavily gotten into it, but I've definitely like listened to a podcast or two or like watched true crime videos, but
There was a part during quarantine where I really got into like true crime and like supernatural stuff. Like I watch Loey Lane a lot, and like, do you guys know who Loey Lane is?
Mm-mm.
She's a YouTuber who, let me pull up her channel really quick. She like talks about a lot of more supernatural stuff than true crime, but I guess sometimes they kind of go hand in hand. She talks about like scary TikToks and like scary like dolls and all that stuff, like haunted stuff.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that stuff I can't watch at night because it's like I see that demon in the
I
corner.
feel like I should get into stuff like that because I like scary stuff. I like horror movies and stuff like that. I just never like, I don't know. I've watched like documentaries about crimes or whatever, but it's never been like, I don't get into like creepy shit.
Mhm. There's like a few people, like Nexpo. I like Nexpo. I'm more of like a video essay girly than a podcast girly.
explain to
we've
me what
talked
a
about
video
that.
essay is.
It's just like an hour or so long video that's just an essay about one topic. Like I listened to a video essay about the history of the letter C once.
How long was that video?
It was like an hour long, 30
Oh
minutes.
my god.
I think.
Oh my
30
god.
minutes to an hour. It's pretty interesting.
Wait, hold on. I'm interrupting. Put this meme on the screen. Bisexuals when you tell them there will be video essays at the function. I
That's
just thought
me
that
for
was
real.
relevant.
That's
Alright,
me for
continue.
real. I'm glad even you like read it out loud too.
Yeah.
So the audio listeners know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, video essays, basically bite-sized podcasts. But then again, podcasts usually, unless they're like based around one thing, like just roll with it. It's based around one D&D campaign. They're more like kind of like this, and maybe you could call like video essay YouTube channels podcast channels. But even then again, it's a little weird because
I feel like the line is a little bit blurred because to me, a podcast is less effort. Like, it's less.
yeah.
You're only getting the audio portion and not a visual. And I feel like
Yeah,
video
yeah.
essays are the audio and a visual, but just very dumbed down.
Yeah. Video essays they have like a lot of editing. Like I watch do you guys know The Right Opinion?
Mm-mm.
What the hell? I was also really very much into commentary YouTube as well. The Right Opinion makes video essays about like drama stuff that's happened.
Mm.
He made a video about
Maybe
one
I do
about
know.
like Ellen DeGeneres. He made one about what happened to Club Penguin.
What?
He made one about Yandere Dev and like all that stuff. They're very edited and they're very well put together and they're very researched beforehand. They take like months to get out, where like podcasts only take like what, you record once and then upload it and then you're like, that's it. Good job, everybody.
It's
We
so
did it."
low effort. That's why we're doing it, because it takes like nothing. We're just speaking.
Yeah. But
What's
I
the
love video
difference
essays.
between like podcasts are kind of way different from, I don't know. I feel like there's a genre of podcast that's actual podcasts, and then there's stuff like Banter where it started out as just a listening podcast and now it's like an hour-long YouTube video and you can see them and they're messing around and it just seems like a stream or just like a normal YouTube video. Does that even count as a podcast anymore?
I think what makes a podcast is if you can just listen to it and understand what's going on. I think that's what makes a podcast. Because podcasts, they're made so you don't have to like watch them. You could put them on in the background and you still know, like if you tune in, you still know like what's going on.
Yeah.
But if they're doing stuff in real life and you're just listening, you're not going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's just like a stream. So I think
That's a good way to put it.
I don't watch Banter.
I don't know. It's just, that's very casual to me. Banter was something I relied on in school when you could listen to music, but you couldn't really be watching your phone or on your phone. And that was so much more entertaining than music because it's people that I was so interested in at the time. And I just get to hear what they're doing and what they're talking about.
Yeah. I think if you were to put like a podcast and music in front of me, I think I'd probably choose music. But that's me personally.
Really?
If you asked me like probably a year ago, I probably would have, maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have said podcasts, but right now I'm really into music.
I think it depends on what I'm doing. I don't think I'd listen to a podcast while I'm driving. I'd listen to music.
Yeah, some people do listen to podcasts while they're driving.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I'm doing like a very low effort task, I think I'll put on a podcast. Like, usually when I'm eating dinner or something, like girl dinner,
Yeah.
I'll set up and then I'll put on like a video essay or a podcast or something. I'll just watch it. But if I'm like really into something, like if I'm doing schoolwork or something, I can't have that going on in the background.
Yeah, I
'Cause
can't
then
have a podcast on.
I'm not gonna know what's happening. But if I put
Yeah.
music on, I know what the music is, so I can just tune it
Yeah,
out.
you've heard
and
the
just-
the songs that you're listening to over 1,000 times already, so you don't really have to pay
Yeah.
attention to it.
Depends on the situation, but
Real.
mostly I'll reach for music more than podcasts. I think podcasts, there's people who can just put it on and do whatever, but I feel like I have to be like attentive to what they're saying because it's like, I don't know how to put it. It's like if I don't know what's happening, then I'm like gonna freak out a little bit and I'm gonna be like, oh, I have to rewatch the whole thing now because I don't know what's happening and I don't know what they talked about and I feel like shit.
Oh,
Yeah, is that the crisis that
don't-
you have every
I
time?
think it's not that high stakes though.
It might not be that
I
serious,
used
but
to, well, yeah, but I used to, when I first started watching Just Roll With It, I watched it while I was doing homework and stuff, and I missed so much of it that I had to, like, go back and rewatch all of it. But I think that might be a little different because Just Roll With It is, like, a story, so you kind of have to,
For sure.
yeah.
Here's one. Thoughts on audiobooks.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't like reading. So I don't know. I feel like I tried to read Coraline through an audiobook, like found an audiobook online of the author of Coraline reading it, and I was like, this is perfect because then I don't have to read it because I lose interest so fast when I'm reading. And it's just so like only audio and I can't visualize it and I can't see it as if it's like a movie. I don't know. It's worse for me. If that was going to be ideal, if an audiobook was going to be ideal, I have to read the book along with the audiobook and then it defeats the whole purpose.
For me, I think it just depends again, because if it's a book I picked out myself, usually I like to read it myself. But I really like reading, so I like reading, but I don't like reading at the same time. If my teachers or something assign something that I have to read and I'm just not interested in it at all, I will look up to see if there's an audiobook version of it or a version of like the author reading it or something. If it's just like a normal book, then I'll read it myself. But I don't know. I don't have big strong feelings on audiobooks.
I think listening to fiction audiobooks are worse than reading fiction books. I think that if it's a nonfiction, like philosophy or psychology or something, then I don't mind listening to an audiobook. Nonfiction, I mean fiction, I want to read it myself.
Yeah. When I was reading Plato's Republic for my philosophy class, I really wish I had like an audio version of it because half the time I'd just read it and I'd be like, huh? What did this guy just say? And it was so annoying because I'd have to reread it like 5 times just to figure out what this guy was saying.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I've had a book for school that I just had no interest in reading and I looked for an audiobook version of it and it just wasn't any more interesting that way. And now I've listened to like 30 minutes of this book being read to me and I've gone through like 6 chapters and I have no idea what has been said at all. I haven't retained any information any more than if I had just read it.
I don't know. Once in my freshman year, we had to read Looking for Alaska in my English class, and I hated that book. I don't know why, but I just didn't like it. So once I was doing my my AP European history, like I had to do a project for it, and I just put on the fucking audiobook in the background, and I was like listening to it while doing it because I was like 2 birds, 1 stone, whatever. And I didn't retain any of the information because I just didn't like the book. Like it's just audiobooks can't save a boring book.
Yeah.
Audiobooks, I wouldn't listen to an audiobook for school at all.
Yeah, definitely not.
For
Yeah, I
personal
just-
enjoyment, yes.
I just did it because I was so far behind.
Yeah.
I didn't want to read it. But yeah, I agree. Usually if it's not a nonfiction book and it's for school, usually I'll read it myself. A book I did enjoy from school though, it's called The Alchemist. It's a pretty good book. A lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it.
What's it about?
It's about this shepherd boy who has a dream that he finds a treasure in like Egypt or something, and he meets this guy who tells him to go after the treasure because he's like the king of Egypt or something. And he decides to go after it, and he sells his sheep and stuff, and like how it goes on this adventure. It's like an allegorical journey, which is like a metaphorical journey shown through like physical whatever. It was a pretty good book. I liked it. A lot of people in my class thought it was like stupid, and I thought like I don't know, it has a lot of thoughts on life and like happiness. It's a very philosophical book in a way, and I really enjoyed it because I found myself relating to it and being like, yeah, that's how I feel about happiness and all this stuff. So that's why that's probably why I enjoyed it more.
Yeah. Would you read it again?
Yeah, I bought the book actually.
Like, thought you were gonna be like, what? No.
I think I would. I started reading it again during college, but I was like, I'm so busy, I don't want to read anything.
Yeah.
What is it called?
It's called The Alchemist. The author's first name is Paulo, but I forget his last name. It starts with a C. It's pretty good. Thoughts on...
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the podcast today, everybody.
We ended there.
Wait, we actually have so much time.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna go a complete different direction.
Oh, you can.
I was gonna say, what do you guys think about doing a podcast when we've never done one before? And then how do you think, like, our friends or, like, our parents are gonna react to it? Or are they gonna listen to it?
Making a podcast when we've never done one before is very intimidating.
It is a little bit scary.
It is a little bit intimidating.
I think that it's a little bit better it not being live, though.
Yeah, for sure.
At least we're not doing, like, a talk show.
Knowing that we can just, like, pause at any moment and, like, mess around and cut it out, and later it'll be edited and a lot smoother than it is probably during recording is really comforting.
I've always liked YouTube better than live streams, because that's why, because it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
You can, like,
For
go
sure.
off, do something, and then come back, and then just cut it out or whatever. It'll be a lot of fun having our friends on here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we have some fun people planned.
Yeah, we do. We have a little bit of a guest list planned already, and a lot of them are just our friends and, like, random people we want to make them sit down and talk to us for however long.
I know my parents won't be watching, because I'm not telling them about the podcast, unless it gets, like, really big out of nowhere, but they wouldn't get it. They'd be like, what the hell is this? Our friends, I feel like if we told Lexi to watch this, I feel like she would.
I feel like she would. I feel like Lexi is a good target audience for this podcast, actually. I feel
she's a podcast listener.
I think a couple of our friends might be target audiences, especially just, like, our community, like, our friend group has a lot of time on their hands. I feel like Lexi's pretty ideal.
I think it's cool. Like, if I were in their position, I feel like it'd be a little weird to just listen to my friends talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'd be interested.
Yeah, I'd be a little interested.
I'd be pretty interested.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I want to know what you're saying.
Of course. I think it's
Could you
better
make
than
a
a stream.
podcast?
It's better than just, like, our friends streaming. Like, I don't know. I like watching our friends' streams, but it does take a lot to sit down and watch it and listen and chat and be supportive. Rather than just a podcast, it's so much easier just to listen and you're already supporting.
Yeah, I think with streaming, like, there is lurking and stuff, but there's still, like, a lot of pressure to, like, be present in the stream
For sure.
and, like, type and all that. Like, I'll like open up some of our friends' streams and I'll be like, "Hi guys," and they're like, "Hi, how are you, Kendall?" And I'm like, "I'm good," and then I'll just leave.
Yeah, and then you mute the tab and don't come back to it until they rate somebody.
I'm like, "Bye."
Yeah.
And it feels so bad.
And there's definitely a lot of pressure since we're all so small that every single one of your handful of viewers counts, especially if 2 of them are your friends. There's a lot of pressure to keep typing and, like, keep the streamer entertained as a viewer, which is kind of a weird dynamic, but that's how it is.
Yeah, I think.
But also just, like, wanting to be there for your friends.
Of course, yeah.
I think even more draining is being in the stream.
That's very true.
I hated streaming because it was so draining, but even, like, being on my friends' streams and stuff, it's really fun, but I feel like I have to keep up this, like, really happy, energetic persona the whole time. That gets really draining really fast.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why that's so draining is because we're all really good friends outside of streaming and making content. We met through content and now we're all such good friends. We spend so much time with each other and we are always messing around in call or like in games or whatever. And it's kind of hard to mask a little bit of our actual friendship when we're on a stream, especially somebody else's stream like Lexi. We can't mess around like we usually do. There's kind of a content creator persona that you need to have a little bit.
Not me though, y'all stay safe. I feel like I notice when like even when you go live Ghost, I notice like you change after like hitting the go live button.
Yeah, I do.
And I'll be like, oh,
Gonna put on like
okay.
the professional.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try not to do that. I like to be genuine, but even that's like very
Being
don't
genuine
know.
can be draining.
I
Sometimes-
feel like being, for me, if I was my most genuine self on stream, I feel like that would be more draining than trying to be this more entertaining person. Especially because I want to be energetic. That's kind of the persona that I feel like I put on when I'm streaming is kind of the person that I wish I was. I'm not that way off camera. That's something that I set aside just so that I can make content that's entertaining that way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, when I make my videos and stuff, I try to be as close to my like actual personality as I can be. Cause if like one day if we like go somewhere or whatever, or if I face reveal or something and I get like noticed in public, I don't want them to be like taken off guard by how different I am in real life.
Yeah, that is true.
Like if I'm like, everybody what's up on YouTube,
Oh my
and
god.
then they meet me in real life, I'm like,
Yeah, if
"Hey,
you're Mickey Mouse on YouTube and Kendall in real life, I'd be pretty surprised too.
hello everybody." Yeah.
Who's a streamer that you think has like such a persona on stream but isn't like that at all?
Oh,
I know, I have my answer.
I want to hear your answer first.
I think Tommy in it.
I was gonna
Yes.
say that.
I was gonna say that too. Totally.
I think I have never in my entire life, until I saw a Tommy in it stream for the first time, understood immediately what his whole like bit was.
He's
and
got
it's-
his whole thing figured out. Though.
It's so figured out. It's so well crafted. You really think that this is what he's like.
Yeah, and then like you'll hear like content creators talk about how he's like behind the scenes, and he's like such like a nice and chill guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? I tried to like when I was like really obsessed with like watching his streams. I guess I did copy like him a little bit. But I guess that's just also how I'm like normally. I'll like curse a lot and like curse people out. Like I do that behind the scenes too.
I think there's definitely elements of your personality that come from him, but for the most part,
Yeah.
like you've molded it to fit you.
Ever since I stopped watching him as much, I think I've gone through some character development. So congrats everybody.
Congrats.
I think another person who on stream has like a different persona, Wilbur Soot.
Really?
I feel
I
like his is
think-
less so though.
His is less, but it's definitely still there. I don't know. I think it depends what stream he's doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all like him, but it's like different aspects of him get like enhanced depending on like the situation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like if he's on someone else's stream, I feel like he's more like chilled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess if I was streaming, I'd want to be more energetic on my stream as well.
Yeah, I feel like
uh,
when it's your stream, you are the entertainer, so naturally you have to kind of act a little bit more. But when I'm on somebody else's stream, like I'm not trying to take that role at all, unless they want me to, or I don't know.
You don't want to like take away from the stream.
Yeah, it's they're the entertainer, and I'm kind of a side character in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's times when we're on like our friend Lexi's stream where we like not like take over the stream, but we're like pretty chaotic in the background.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like such a chill.
Lexi
streamer.
is such a chill streamer. It's very like mundane, and you click on a Lexi stream and you know exactly what you're gonna get every time. And I feel like we do a good job of kind of being the chaos sometimes and being entertaining when she needs it. And she streams for so long.
She does.
Yeah.
That has to be draining. That has to be exhausting. I would, if I'm streaming for that long and I am a chill streamer, I wouldn't mind people coming in and entertaining every so often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she tells us that she doesn't really care about it.
Yeah.
She'll stream for like I think it's a long time. 4 hours is a lot, but I mean, it's not really a lot, but it's a lot to us.
It's a lot to
Like,
us.
foolish gamers, that's too
That
much.
is crazy. I would
How is
love
that
to.
guy?
That's
I would
insane.
love to stream 8 hours a day, but after an hour, I'm like, okay, I want to go lay down.
But yeah, Lexi, we like to joke with her that that she pays us for the stream.
Yeah, it's been a running joke for like 2 years now or something. That
Yeah,
if
we're like,
you
"Oh,
leave
if we
Lexi's
leave-"
stream before she ends, you'll get an angry DM from her about your pay getting docked.
So she's gonna dock our pay, and then she's gonna. Yeah, we kind of did the same thing when we first started the SMP with Val, the contract.
Yeah.
We made that like such a running bit that people didn't know if it was a joke or not. I remember new people joined and we were like, "Oh, thanks for signing the contract," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, you didn't know you signed it? Here's the paper. Oh yeah, we printed out an actual contract and I signed it and took a picture of it.
Yeah, you were gonna use that for a video.
I was. I had a crazy video planned that just never happened.
Yeah, you didn't like how it was, and then something else happened.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll talk about it. Maybe not though.
Probably not.
Probably not. Speaking of people who are like who put on a persona, I guess like celebrities put on like a lot of a persona too.
For
like,
sure,
all
for
For
celebrities.
sure.
Definitely K-pop idols do. All of them.
Mhm.
I feel like
I think
100%. I feel
they're
like they
genuine
don't have
to
a
a point.
choice.
Yeah. They're genuine to a point. I think
I think it
you
also
know,
depends
there-
on who you're talking about, but
yeah, there's a lot of
fan service.
yeah. I'm
I
thinking about
think
I'm thinking about Bangchan right now. I'm
that's
like,
what I'm thinking about. I was gonna say, I think stuff like that because he did live streams where it was just him sitting down and he's just talking about whatever. I feel like that is really comforting with when you're a fan of somebody who has to kind of be a fake person always. I feel like that's so comforting just to like hear them talk about stuff and like talk about their life, even if they can't reveal too much. That's still really human.
For sure.
Yeah, I never really watched it, but like I really loved seeing like all those people like talk about it and stuff. And I've seen like how sad people have been because he hasn't been doing it. But I think it's so yeah, like you said, it's very comforting to see somebody who's normally like a fake version of themselves be like super genuine.
Yeah.
And then I think he is really genuine. I think he's like a really nice person in real life. IRL.
Someone who I think has a really well crafted content persona that we don't really think about is George Not Found.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've talked about that before, like in a stream somewhere. I remember seeing a comment that was like, this guy is a genius. Like, he has so many followers and viewers and everybody who is so interested in his life and his friends' lives, and no one knows anything about him. No one knows, like, if he has any siblings or, like, what his parents are like or what he did in school or anything. What does he do outside of streaming? Like, what does he like to do? Nobody knows. He doesn't talk about it. And you don't really think about that because he's just so busy being so entertaining and putting on this different persona that you don't think about who he really is. And no one knows
That's
anything
actually
about him.
so real. I've never really thought about it.
Yeah, and
me
he's so
neither.
successful and we don't even know what he does.
Yeah, bro's living the
That's crazy.
faceless life better than faceless YouTubers are.
For real. The only thing you know about him is what he looks like, really.
I mean, friends and stuff, but like his life.
Even then, I
Yeah.
feel like his friend group is such a tight circle. Like, I don't know. He has whoever is on screen with him for the most part is Dream and Sapnap. And then outside of that, like, who's behind everything else? You don't ever see who's behind the camera when all three of them are on screen, or you never see who's with them when they're traveling, or what other friends they might have. You don't get to know anything. And I feel like that takes such commitment and like so much thinking and planning to make sure that it's all so secure that way, but they've done it.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy, especially the Minecraft community has a lot of this. And I know Dream gets a lot of flack for parasocial relationships, but I think it's really easy with streaming to have a parasocial relationship. And I think
Define parasocial before you talk about it more. What does
Isn't it
parasocial
just-
mean?
it's like the viewer thinking that they have like a relationship with the person they're watching. Isn't that what it
Or
is?
even
Yeah.
the streamer feeling like they have a relationship with the viewer.
Feeling
viewer.
like you're closer with this person that you know
Than
nothing
you-
about, essentially.
Yeah. I think the Minecraft community is a good example.
Yeah.
Especially the Dream SMP community is a very good example
100%.
of what to do, what's wrong
What's everything that's wrong with
parasocial
being
relationships?
parasocial?
Yeah, I feel like it's a very good example of what I don't want in my own community.
Yeah.
I do make Minecraft, but like Minecraft content.
You
but
make
I don't
Minecraft?
want- I make Minecraft, everybody. But I don't want my community to be like them because
Mhm.
they're very overwhelming, and I love a lot of them. I know a lot of them don't mean any harm, but it's just like
I feel like it's a community that's very built on like entitlement. Like, I don't know, very built on like this is my streamer that I'm a fan of, and no one is gonna get in the way of that.
I think the Minecraft community and the K-pop community have the same problem.
Mhm.
And they're very parasocial. I tried my hardest not to be very parasocial, but I know it happens. But I think they hate on each other, but they're like
They kind
two
of go
sides of
hand
the
in
same
hand a
coin.
little bit, yeah.
Mhm.
I think I have the opposite problem, and especially with like our community and our viewers and stuff, I feel like I am too distant. I feel like I'm not ever trying to be parasocial or trying to I do have my persona that I like to keep intact, and I feel like because of that I'm pretty distant. Like it's kind of hard for me to connect with people and connect with viewers and stuff because I just don't know them. But
For sure.
I think that's something that comes with making content for a long time is getting over that. Knowing that you're talking to random people who you don't know anything about and they don't know anything about you, but you want to entertain them, and that's hard to do.
I also think the problem with the Minecraft and K-pop community is that the artists and the content creators, they like kind of foster the parasocialness.
Mm.
Instead of like trying to like bat it down and be
I
like,
feel like
hey guys,
but
you
it's
don't
a
know
marketing
me.
strategy.
It really is a marketing strategy. But like if you look at like Ludwig made that video, we are not friends.
I am not your friend.
I am not your friend. That's
Do you
a
think that
meme.
did anything? Did that video do anything in the
Probably
grand scheme of things?
not.
No?
Probably not. I don't watch Ludwig, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I know he made that. I think if my viewers were to get too out of line, I think I would definitely say something about it though.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't just let them keep going.
Mhm.
Like if my viewers were like, I don't know, making me like super uncomfortable, asking me like very weird questions. What's your address?
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
be like,
obviously.
girl. Well, yeah, obviously, but I can't think of any other like questions right now off the top of my head.
Girl, I'm a content creator and I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you have a smaller community, it's really easy for one single person to come into any of our chats and ask something weird and you have no idea what to do because it's hard to have mods sometimes, or it's hard to stop your stream and specifically talk to this person or get this person out of your chat, and it's really hard to kind of keep a comforting bubble around you while you're streaming. I feel like if you're bigger, maybe you get more of that, but it might be easier to handle.
I feel like when you're bigger, chat moves so fast and you're not really
Yeah.
paying attention to everyone all the time, and so it just kind of goes unnoticed.
Yeah, I know recently we had one of our friends have something like that happen. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and her mod wasn't in the chat. She had to like stop her whole stream to talk to this person. And I felt so bad. I was like, oh my god, there's nothing I can do in this
Yeah,
situation.
that's just something that you can't really prepare for.
Mm.
But it
Yeah,
got
it's-
handled.
It got handled.
I typed a DM really fast and we figured it out, and hopefully it won't happen again.
Yeah, it's also so hard to find mods when you're smaller because usually you just use
Definitely.
your friends,
Yeah.
but your
You can
friends
rely a
can't
lot on each other.
they can't be there all the time. Like I know when I go to college, I won't be able to sit there and babysit chats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I gotta, but like you could put out mod applications, but nobody's gonna fucking apply.
I
They don't know who
think
you are.
I have applied to be a mod for big streamers before in the past just to have something to do, especially for people that I watched a lot. So while I'm already sitting there watching you, I might as well help you out. And I feel like a big part of being a mod is everyone who is a mod is also a creator or close to being a creator, and they're just climbing. It's to get your name out, and that is why you mod for someone who's massive, is to say that you're their mod. And when you're really small, nobody's looking to mod for you or help you when you have nothing to give them in return. They're essentially a free viewer for you and they get nothing back. And I think that's different than modding for somebody who's really big, is you kind of get something out of it.
Yeah, because even I don't know if there's really any mods who don't make content, but even if like you just have like a Twitter account and you mod for someone and you put I'm this person's mod, a bunch of people will find you and
Yeah,
follow
it gives you some clout for sure.
But I think just streaming in general is really difficult. I know Twitch is like not nice to small streamers. It's like you already have to have a community before you start streaming on Twitch to be able to grow. And that's like not possible for a lot of people.
Yeah. Twitch makes it really difficult to get your name out there, and then if all you have time for is making content on Twitch, you don't really ever get anywhere. It's hard to get your name out.
YouTube is it's not easy.
I think
YouTube can be easier.
probably the easiest places to grow really fast would be like TikTok or something. Something where people are moving through videos so fast.
I think
don't
by
know.
far the easiest platform to grow on is TikTok, yeah. It's the hardest to make content on, but the easiest to get big on.
Yeah, if you like study the TikTok algorithm, it's like once you get like a hit thing, you just keep barreling off of that.
You could definitely do your homework and figure out how it all works. It's all just patterns and numbers and knowing times of things and knowing what people are into right now and clinging to that, and it can get you somewhere within days. It's crazy.
Yeah, that happened to you.
It happened to me. I figured it all out, and I just have to do it again.
Yeah, and then you hated it, and then you
I
stopped.
think a lot of it is trial and error though as well.
It is trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error. That was a lot of when I was getting big and I had all my niches and everything figured out, and I had my pattern figured out, and I was helping other people around me get big. One of the things on my little list of tips and advice and everything was it's trial and error. Like, you have to experiment with a lot of stuff and get it just how you want it for it to work.
Yeah, content is hard. But like, I don't know, it's worth it doing something that's creative. It's hard, but when you make it, it's gonna be so I don't know, you're gonna be so proud of yourself.
It's rewarding. It's rewarding. Getting big is rewarding, and like seeing your numbers how you want them is rewarding. And also, there's a lot of things on the inside of getting big that people don't talk about. We should talk about that a different time, though. What's going on with TikTok?
TikTok.
What's going on with TikTok? We're talking about that later.
I love TikTok. Sorry. Get in the fucking podcast mode now.
Yeah.
With content though, I like, speak of numbers, I try like really hard not to focus too much on the numbers. Like, I'll upload a YouTube video and then I'll change to my personal YouTube account and then I won't check like the views or anything.
Yeah.
I'll just close it and I'll be like, I'm not looking.
Yeah, it is really hard not to like babysit it.
I do the same thing with TikTok, but it's a little harder because I get the notifications on my phone. So it's like,
more accessible.
Yeah, like when we put up our SMP trailer video, I like kept checking because I kept getting notifications for it. So I was like, I want to know like what's happening on TikTok or whatever.
For sure.
So it's just harder to get away from on TikTok. So it's easier to get like focused on the numbers. Same
It's storming outside for me right now. It's really loud.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
No.
Awesome.
Maybe this is a good place to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. End it right
wonderful.
And that's what's going
No
on.
outro.
No outro. See ya. Bye.